active when like defending.
I think it's like
Now, away from feeling sorry for myself and some Arsenal fans as well, people deluded, I'm back again. Now, I don't know the point of this video. But to be fair, that don't hurt as much as yesterday, man. As I was saying, I don't know the point of this video. It's more a case of just Arsenal therapy session. Now, the first thing I would say is there's no shame losing to Manchester City, losing out in the title race. We've been knowing it was a difficult mountain to climb. We've been knowing, you know, in really everything was done before the Brighton game. So I don't know why we're all upset about Nottingham Forest. But for me, I would say, as my notes say here, there's no shame in losing to Manchester City. There's every shame in the way that we've handled this final stretch of the season. Now, I don't know where I'm at it because I do feel we was due a barren run because we've been overperforming all season, and so, you know, the league's a marathon, not a sprint. And when you see these defeats and stuff, it starts to probably normalize out when we look back in May, wins, losses, and draws. And I think there's a lot to be proud of this season. I think there's a lot of foundations, all of that yada, yada, yada. Also, I feel there's a lot to improve. You know, unfortunately, capitulation since we moved to the Emirates has been part of this football club's DNA. Unfortunately, capitulated against Sporting Lisbon, capitulated in the last furlong of the season. You know, we can point towards Liverpool, etc., but the damage was done before that. But yes, Southampton, Liverpool, City, West Ham, Brighton, obviously yesterday against Forest, you know, I always say it and you lot know it, it's nothing new. Football's more of a mental game than people give it credit for. When we look back at this season, evidently we need to improve on the transition, set pieces, game management, our whole outlook in relation to how we defend and hold on to games. But it's shameful in how we've gone out. For me, I just ask, the only thing I demand of Arsenal for 38 games, because you can't win them all, is be competitive, maximize, you know, your competitive nature. If the other team beat you, then it is what it is. We go back to the drawing board. You know, congratulations, Nottingham Forest. I'm on you lot though, because like Brighton, your social media guys on Twitter are doing too much. But in relation to the admin, you know, you hold your hands up. But really and truly, like Brighton the week before and Nottingham Forest, I don't think they'll pick up an easier 3 points. They both got a clean sheet. Forest didn't offer much in terms of goals, but they did what teams know to do against Arsenal. I wouldn't say they were overexertive physically, even though they were at stage, but you know, you rattle us, you physically cause us problems. You know, obviously you make sure you're rigid and you get men behind the ball. We are going to struggle to break you down. We don't have the luxury of going direct. Jesus' strengths are not, you know, going long, and probably we probably stopped going long as much because that didn't work against Brighton. Nottingham Forest, we didn't do it. But again, this is why we need a more physical number 9. Going back to mentality, the manager, the players, everyone connected to this club, you know, in the same way when you're doing well, I praise you. You need to control your mentality. You know, in the last games, including Nottingham Forest, we've been shook in my, you know, against City, we were defeated in the tunnel. Against Liverpool, we didn't know how to react after taking the lead. We got very complacent against West Ham. Southampton, obviously, Ramsdale, like Odegaard, made a mistake. And I'm not criticizing any player because we've seen that several players have made individual mistakes. But against Southampton, it looked like we was listening too much to the noise. I don't see what I saw at the beginning of the season where things would go wrong and people wanted to be protagonists. People wanted to stand and make the difference. Now I'm seeing everybody look to someone else to pass the buck. So I think the manager hasn't kept his bottle. The players have not kept their bottle. Obviously, Mikel Arteta has a lot to learn in terms of squad rotation, in terms of how he adapts his system according to personnel, in terms of how he utilizes the squad, because, you know, the Xhaka left back hybrid role didn't work. Kirio at left back didn't work. Partey at right back didn't work. Jesus put himself about and tried, but he lacks that cutting edge. It did not work. Saka was poor. He was spent. It did not work. You know, Jorginho actually was one of the better players. But again, with Jorginho, inconsistencies from Partey and now Xhaka departing, if we do not revamp that midfield, we're in trouble. As I said, there's no shame in losing to Manchester City. There's every shame in how you have lost to Manchester City in this last furlong. City knew it. They knew that you lot have never been here before. They knew some, maybe not in this fashion, but they knew you lot would capitulate. So you don't need to take this and learn from it. Congratulations to Man City. Pepper's turned this into a farmers league. The bottling is shameful. We're not winning our individual battles. We're not winning our collective battles. We're not playing like we did earlier in the season. We're not dying to win, or where you're not taking, the opposition is not taking 3 points over our dead body. Not too many Nottingham Forest kits were dirty. In fact, Nottingham Forest, considering 3 points keeps them in the division from the minute they scored, which was early on inside the first 20 minutes, they should have been nervous. But football is a mental game. If you're not giving reasons for a team to be nervous, they're not going to. And, you know, it's a madness. You know, even when Partey is smashing the ball at Benjamin White, thank God they didn't get a second one. You know, unfortunately, since we've touched the Emirates, we love capitulating. It's ingrained into us. So these lot need to learn, really, because it's only going to get worse next season, where there's now a degree of expectation, where you're in the Champions League, where, let's be honest, money has been spent. The project is moving along, but we need to see it. I just simply wanted us to go down like Spartans, like warriors, and that hasn't been done, really. And, you know, I didn't understand Fabio Vieira. I thought last week you should have used him against Brighton rather than put Trossard this role. This time I don't get it. You know, Arsenal fans in this last period, they're not happy. Every player that they said was the best in the world is now terrible. Trossard, I like him. And I'm not, listen, any names I've said individually, it's a team game, you know. We share W's and we hold L's together. But Trossard, it's a squad player thing. You can't be relying on that, really, if I'm honest. Everyone will point towards Saliba's injury, and they're right. You know, we need Saliba, clearly. But I think Saliba's only just highlighted how fragile our team is defensively. There's teams below us, and definitely where City are concerned. If they lost key players in defense, there would not be an issue. We're not going to get to where we need to if we're relying on certain players in first team roles, in squad roles, etc., etc. I also feel in life, it's not always about, you know, doing bad or doing good. It's about maintaining, and we haven't maintained. And you know what? I'll take it, you know, from where we used to be at the end of the season, but it's disappointing because for me, you know, I look at Brighton in isolation. I look at Nottingham Forest in isolation. I don't care about the title race, but I'm looking at what we need to do. We were not competitive. We did not manage our bottle. We know Nottingham Forest, where the FA Cup's concerned, that's a ground we struggle at. You know, we struggle at. We knew they were fighting for their lives. We didn't make them have to fight for those 3 points. The easiest 3 points they'll get. A bit like, well, Brighton are playing now, but a bit like Brighton, it wouldn't surprise me if Nottingham Forest on the last day of the season they lose. They're probably drunk. You think my little rare Neff is anything? Them man are getting lit. You know, we didn't ask a single question, and it's quite poor. I still love these players, but you know, everyone has crumbled mentally. The managers crumbled, the players have crumbled individually and collectively. It sounds crazy, but no one's playing with a smile on their face again. As I've said before, this is a privileged position. How many times have Arsenal during this Emirates era really been in a title race? The Eduardo leg break season, unfortunately, the Welbeck Leicester season. Past that, you're scratching your head. You've achieved your goal of top four. Act like you can try and win a league title. Act like you're trying to build building blocks for next season, which we haven't done. And there's a lot of frailties, really, in our game, really. Everybody's crumbled. The manager's tactics, a great tactician. Number of times it's worked this season. I've praised you. This time it ain't really. You know, it's quite bewildering. You know, yesterday against Nottingham Forest, that's one of the only times before the game you could see, you might not agree, but you could see what Arteta's trying to come with. Not that I agreed with it. That was probably one of the first games of the season where I've looked at it like, oh, even Tony Adams said it, like, what the hell are we doing? Collectively and individually, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? It just seems like square pegs in round holes. We're not Man City. You can't play random guys left back and this and that. We need to stick to the basics. Clearly, we need more squad depth. Clearly, we need curtain raisers. But before anything, regardless of who signed, I keep saying it, we need to change our mentality. I think there's a good foundation, but it needs to go to the next level. We need to be a lot more street smart. There's a lot of things that, as important to signing new players, we need to do the training ground stuff. If we do not improve defensively, forget about next season, because you're going to be found out. Teams are going to know what you're on. Champions League, forget about it. And all I ask in the Champions League is get out of the group as a minimum. You let ourselves down. As I said, there's no shame in losing to City. There's every shame in how it's happened. Every shame in how it's happened. And yeah, hold the banter and all of that. And again, I'm not even watching City. I'm looking at us. This is not what Arsenal's supposed to be about. You're meant to go down fighting. You're meant, you know, if the opposition beats you, fair enough. You have to hold your hands up. But I know a lot of them players struggled to sleep last night. I know there was a lot of regrets. All I ask is that you play to your maximum and you have no regrets. Everybody's got a regret. And that's happening far too often now. I've been saying it all season. We're an improved defensive side. We're not a good defensive side. People are pointing to me towards all these stats. I hear that. As I said, I never said we didn't improve. But we've improved, but we're not a good defensive side. A good defensive side don't concede the goal you did at Nottingham Forest. They don't concede in the manner you did against West Ham and Liverpool. And actually, the games like Leeds at home, Crystal Palace at home, West Ham at home, Fulham at home, Leicester at home, if I didn't make that clear, again, the individual mistakes. I'm not blaming an individual player because it happens. Last week and a couple of times recently, it's been Odegaard. You've seen Odegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, Ramsdale, Trossard, Jesus. Again, it's too easy. From the moment that ball's lost in the middle, there's still a lot to do, Zinchenko, again, the individual mistakes needs to cut out, and a lot of it is mental. You have improved. You have got more fight. But in terms of being champions, and when I say champions, I mean, it's obvious of trying to win titles, but being the best you can be every day to get to where you need to get to, it's not there. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how you fix it, but it needs to change, innit, really? All it asks is you go down like Spartans, like warriors, like soldiers in the troops. We didn't do that, I'd go as far as to say Nottingham Forest is one of the worst performances of the season because you didn't offer nothing, didn't ask a damn question of Nottingham Forest. Easy. And there's many games, I would say for me, Nottingham Forest, Brighton at home, the last 2 weeks, Everton easy, City as well, away easy. And the only thing for me with them, and there's obviously been other times we dropped points because there's been no fight, there's been no integrity, there's been no desire. And I'm not going to lie to you, I do think you need common sense when you look at Arsenal. Obviously, people are going to paint you as bottlers. Some people are going to live in positive fairyland. Two truths live in the same realm. Arsenal have bottled this last leg of the season. There are some positives, but specific to my team, and obviously, I don't think a single player didn't want to win a league title. I'm not saying that they went out there to lose and all of these things, because I don't believe that. But I do think, just as an ignorant fan, going off what you lot say, Mikel Arteta, Ramsdale, and several others, I do think there's been this subconscious complacency because we keep talking about people will look back and say we've had a good season. When the dust is settled, we'll be all right. We've been doing it for 10 months, all of this sort of language. And it's not wrong with what they're saying, but I think indirectly that's created this sort of bed that it is what it is. We've got the medium goal sort of thing. There's a complacency, really and truly. Winning is everything. Winning is the only thing. And when I say winning, I obviously mean the obvious titles, all of that jazz. But winning is being the best you can be day in, day out, week in, week out. And again, the best place to talk is on the pitch, because when you Ramsdale, and I'm not naming anyone, I love my club, so I'm just putting reference points. When men are coming out here and saying they disagree with people that are saying they bottled and things like that, and Ramsdale, you definitely weren't the worst player on the pitch. But one man in this team speaks for everybody. This is why I don't do this. We can talk about individual performances, but we're all in this together. If a man's coming out and saying, yo, we're not bottling, I don't agree with all of this, what the fuck are we going to play like that then? Because again, you can fool some of the people some of the time. The best talk is on the pitch, If you come out and say you're upset that people are saying you're bottling it, why are you and your teammates? And again, I'm not blaming Ramsdale, so don't get it twisted. But why are you playing like that then? That is a performance of bottlers. That is a performance. That performance, unfortunately, and I want to use my language carefully, is pathetic. It was pathetic. Collectively, individually, it's pathetic. And again, I look at the body language, and I'm not trying to do this Graham Souness thing. When I have seen mistakes happen, like with Odegaard early in the season, man, I've just said, you know what, it's happened. Let's get back. Let's go. We're going. I didn't see that yesterday. I see Jorginho bollocking couple players. See Ben White going a bit mad. But I don't see people wanting to be the difference. I see everybody looking like, oh, Teta, super subs. Odegaard, make something happen. Xhaka, you're our real captain. Make something happen. I don't see it. And we're not playing with a smile on our faces. Football is a mental game. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's a myth. We were taught, again, I'm not even getting at Jorginho, but we was told, man, are coming in to do this mentality stuff. It's a myth. Not that they're not coming with that, but it's a myth. One man can't change it all. You lot all need to get yourself in that headspace of that people are going to talk anyways. They're going to say your bottle is anyways. They're going to, there's no shame in losing to City. We know what they're going to write, but there's no shame in it. But I didn't see people that were relishing the opportunity. This has been the best, the most fucked thing about it. It's been one of the best seasons, probably the best season in recent years. Play like it. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And for me, it's about building blocks for next season, which I don't think we tried to do against Brighton. I don't think we tried to do against Nottingham Forest. A team fighting for their lives, a team like Brighton, one of the best informed sides. These are good tests, and we didn't show it. I never saw the comeback against Bournemouth, which, again, even that, when you look away from it romantically, defensively weren't good enough. But I didn't see the same mentality that saw you come back from behind against them, or against United at home, or against Villa away, or to shut up pardon me, sharp shot twice against Chelsea. You know, we're too emotional as a team, and it goes both ways. You know, and I've said this before, and I looked at it. Obviously, when we played Chelsea and Newcastle, we was in a bit of a booky state, to say the least. We won 2 games, we're back. When I hear the manager, I'm not criticizing anyone, I can only go off what people are saying. When the manager's coming out and saying the mentality's back, the players are saying the confidence back, I hear it, I'm gassed up. Yes, we're back. But when I sit there and I break it down, people, surely we're too volatile as a football club. And it's, you know, obviously, like in life, if you're not, you know, if you're not feeling how you feel, if you're not, you know, if you dress well, if you're eating good, if you're doing things, you feel good. If you're not doing certain things, you're gonna feel bad. Like, you're not gonna always be motivated and things like this. But it sat there and it made me think, raw, like, as I always say, when everything's going right, not that you need to look for negatives in life, but you need to look at reasons to keep calm. As I was trying to tell you, lot when we was going on doing what we was doing at the start of the season, when everything's going wrong, you need to find reasons to keep calm and reasons to be positive, which I think Arteta does, if I'm honest with you. But then I think it's too volatile. Surely, you know, if we just take West Ham, Liverpool, and Southampton, I think I could be wrong. Them 3 games, yeah. When we hit that blip, now there could have been other losses. City was around them times, I don't know. But if you've hit a barren spell at the point in 3 games, yeah, bearing in mind you've won like 20 odd, or I might be capping, but you've won a lot of games. You've hit a roadblock for 3 games, and now you know you've gone from feeling top of the world, top of the pops, best team in the world. You've hit a blip. Surely, if you can forget about that, and now you feel mad down on yourselves, and then you're back after getting 6 points. Surely we're too volatile as a club. Results fluctuate, really, and that's something that we're too emotional. And as I said, we need to pattern our mentality. You know, when we're doing well, players that you don't really believe in, or you don't think they have certain things in their locker, they play out their skin. When everything's going wrong, we're going wrong. And I just feel we're too. I don't want to say naive. I don't think it's anything to do with youth, because it's all players. Again, I can't phrase it, people, other than I think we're too emotional. Like, I think we're too emotional. I think we're very reactive and things like that. Ultimately, when we look back in the season beyond the obvious, bro, 12 teams have picked up more points than Arsenal since the start of April. As I always say, from August, all I care about is getting to the December period, still in and amongst of whatever we're trying to achieve. From December, you start knowing the League Cup, the FA Cup, the games are coming thick and fast. You need to make it till March/April. Then from April to May, it's a straight shootout. Don't let your hard work become undone, which the players have. I think listen, I think every player's done what they could. I think they've tried. I think they want to win a title. I think they want to do all of them things. And I think it was too much of a hill to climb, if I'm honest. But I think they'll look back and they've capitulated. You've not prepared yourself well mentally. You weren't prepared for the Nottingham Forest game. You weren't prepared for West Ham. You were prepared for Liverpool, but you couldn't deal with a spanner in the works. City and Everton, not that we played the Everton, one of the worst games as well. City, because I could see in the tunnel. I beg you, lot, go back to my watch along of that. In the first couple of moments, if you fast forward, I look at it, and I don't know these players, but I'm looking at them and like, you man look shook. It looks long for us. Mentality is everything. In the same way you went and put in a bloody great performance against Newcastle. We're too volatile mentally. Individually, every player needs to look at themselves, praise themselves for what they've done this year, slap themselves for how it's gone, and improve. You know, improve. There's no way around it. 9 points. Forget fighting for a title and all these things. We could have got 90 points. We're having a good season. As again, I'm using this season past the fact of I've never believed we're going to win the title, like you lot could see. City have won it. Building blocks for next year. 9 points from 24 is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Yes, we know we're not going to be untroubled from second. City is an impossible task. It is what it is. But say we're fighting for a title. We're fighting for to stay in the league, God forbid. We're fighting for Champions League. 9 points is unacceptable. Just in terms of being competitive. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. There's no other way around it. Unacceptable. You know, since April, we beat Leeds. We drew with Liverpool. We drew with West Ham. Drew with Southampton. You know, lost to City. Beat Chelsea, beat Newcastle, got shat on by the Seagulls and dealt with against Nottingham Forest. Unacceptable. How many clean sheets do you lot see? How many clean sheets do you see as well? Defense wins titles. Defense gets you into finals. How many clean sheets do you lot see? Yes, Saliba's not there. But I promise you, apologies for my language. You're a fucking dickhead if you actually think Saliba's injury is the reason for all of this. It's a factor. It's not the reason. Because Saliba could have been there and this could have looked the same. We all know Saliba's a bad boy. We all miss him. He's great. But we do not respect defending as a club. We're very naive. We need to be more street smart. We need more grit. Even away from home, we've been a lot better away from home. That weren't a performance yesterday. Well, to be fair, we conceded 2 less than the previous week. Yes, again, people are looking at Saliba like the Messiah. And actually, fans pee me off as well because, You go from gassing up Trossard. Look, some fans are sitting there and saying Trossard is shit, he's this, he's that. Bro, you were saying that we need to play him, he should take Martinelli's spot. Fans annoy me because all these players are the best thing ever since sliced bread when we're winning and then when we're losing. We were all in this together. We shared the W's and the L's. We asked questions and constructive criticism and all that jazz, but we're in this together. And listen, and again, people that say these players don't care, they do care. Because for us, we're fans. Some of these players will never be involved in a title challenge again. We don't know what Arsenal's going to look like next year. We don't know who is going to be there. Some of you will never win a Premier League title. Some of you will never win major honours. You had the opportunity of a lifetime. So I can never criticize a player for not caring, for not trying. But tactically, we're very naive. I love Mikel Arteta and what you're doing. You need to go back home and go into research mode. The players, some players, based on the last 2 games, some players can't fight, won't fight, don't know what fighting is. I don't know. You're only as strong as your weakest man. Beyond the obvious, this is where City come into their element. No losses, in 23. I wish it was no wins. Them man are bad boys. We've kept, in 10 Premier League games, you kept 1 clean sheet. I don't care if Saliba's there or not. That's unacceptable. And if you think because, if Saliba's there, we're keeping X amount of clean sheets, it's a lie. Because Saliba, and again, I love Saliba, but you was there against Leeds. You was there Leicester at home. You was there Crystal Palace away. Not Crystal Palace, Brighton away, where we put them to the sword, scored all those goals, and then made it more difficult. And these things happen occasionally. These things happen. This is what football's about. It happens at times. Football's mad. Sometimes you're not going to be at the races. Sometimes it's going to be a crazy game, but it's happening too often than not. I try to tell people Villa away, Brighton away, Bournemouth at home, Man United at home. When you look past the romance of what football is, of snatching victory from the jaws of a draw or defeat, bro, it's not sustainable what we've been doing. And now it's about homework. I don't care what we've done good this season. Take the good and make it better. Take the shit and make it of a suitable standard. Because if we don't improve our shortcomings, this is going to happen time and time again. Again, I don't know what we was on yesterday, but we all know our left-hand side offered nothing. So Mikel Arteta, in the same way, if we did a madness, I would praise you. I don't know what you've been on. You haven't showed your bottle. Big up the manager. You're still my manager. And like Tony Adams has said here, lack of squad depth is an issue. But I don't care about injuries, lack of squad depth. None of these things are a reason as to why Arsenal are bottling in the way they're bottling. I cannot lie to you. They're all factors. They're not. Mentally, we're not prepared. We're crumbling. We're capitulating. And Arsenal fans want to do this. And you want to say, Spurs bottling, this team bottling, this and that. And man are talking about Arsenal bottling, and you can't accept it. And man are overcompensating. Two truths can be true in the same realm, really and truly. We bottled it. We bottled ourselves. We look a shadow of what we used to look like. It's unacceptable and it's appalling. And I love Mikel Arteta and these players. I'm not saying this. I don't need no views from criticizing my team. It pains me to say this, but you need to be honest in life. You need to look at the reality of things. In the same way, if we were winning games, we'd be blowing smoke up all of their asses. Pause. Look at where we're at. Big up the gaffer. The title's done. I don't want to hear that from the manager. Big up the manager. I don't want to hear it. On whether he will use the hurt to drive us on again next season. You need to. Remember how it felt to sit in the change rooms at Brighton, away at City, yesterday against Nottingham Forest. Remember how it felt? Like how you used the pain of not getting top 4. Remember how this felt? In the same way, remember how good it felt to get 6 points off Spurs and Chelsea. And Leeds away, difficult game. Brighton away, difficult game. Crystal Palace, Brentford away, played them at the right time. Scary games. We did what we need to do. Remember how these things felt. Make the good times last. I don't want to hear no more bad times because it's only going to get worse. If anyone that can't deal with the pressure of this football club, anyone that can't deal with the scrutiny, you need to leave now. Because you're going to live, the same rope you're climbing on where, Arsenal was the next this, that, the other, where a breath of fresh air is the same rope, the media, the fan base, everything is going to kill you on. So anyone that doesn't want to deal with pressure, leave the club. Pressure is a privilege, Again, Mikel Arteta, clearly we need a more physical number 9. We need another defender, right back, left back. Again, don't know why he didn't play Tierney. Tierney, best of luck to you at Newcastle. So in that case, if he does go, need a left back, need a centre half, need a right back, need a more physical striker for me, need 2 centre mids as a minimum, people. He said, for sure, we'll find a way to do that. Today is just sadness. You see, a lot of people have put so much work in. So why let it go that easy? So much belief and so many hours, and I'm sad for them. I'm sad for everybody, more so myself, because I wanted to find a way. We wanted to squeeze everything that we had out of that group and find alternatives and ways to reach certain levels. And when we don't, we try to find other ways. We fell short, and it's my job and my responsibility. I have to analyze that and think. It's true. You fucked up the tactics, but the players let you down as well. I don't want to hear about the final day. You didn't have enough to take it to the final day. Big up Man City. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about Man City. I just want to hear about us. On reflection on the success that this season has been, it's been a success in terms of what we used to be. But 10 years from now, man, I'm not remembering this season. unless there's a documentary and this season's a catalyst for seasons not only next year but beyond. There's no question about that. I'm not questioning that at all. But today is painful. We're here to win. I'm here to win. I want to win. I love winning. I love what everybody does at this club to win. These people deserve to win. I don't think some of your players can win to the way we need to. And when you don't get there, it's painful. This is how I feel today. I value a lot of what players have done, everyone here. But when you are there, it's the next step. You have to win. And we fell short. We fell more than short. We fell off several stories, mate. You know, no matter how much great City is, and we can talk about City being a super team, which they are, and Pepper, bad boy, and all of these things. But we didn't lose because of that. We didn't lose on this race because of that. We defeated ourselves. We crumbled. City were always City were always gonna take it. You saw me sit here day in, day out and say, oh, I don't look at the league table, because I knew this was coming, because I know where my team is at and I know where City at. But no matter what, we fumbled it, and it comes back down to mentality and defending. Obviously, scoring goals is an issue. Gabriel Jesus, if you want to be a winger, let Arteta know, because I love Jesus. Bad boy player. I love him. Brazilian, Jamaican, in fact, better yet. Shout out all my Jamaicans called Romario. I love Jesus. But I don't know if you're a killer in front of goal. I don't know if you're born to score goals. I don't know if you die to score goals. So what's going on there? You know, if you want to be a winger, let Arteta know. And to be fair, I feel sorry for Jesus, because we've seen it against Brighton. We've seen it against Villa when you actually came off for Trossard as a false nine. You saw it yesterday. Like, the difference with Brighton and Forest, we learned from the Brighton game, learned something and said, you know what, there's no point lumping it forward. But we need, in games like that, even, I know we blitzed Everton at home, but if you remember, we were struggling physically for a second until Martinelli and Saka scored. We need that option of a physical nine so that we can actually cross the ball. If not, we can get out of our own half. They can be a more physical contender against the centre-back. They get some fouls. We get further up the pitch. We need that. Look, Haaland is essentially that. Away from Haaland being great, we don't have that, and we're missing a trick. The big carrot of Gabriel Jesus signing for this club was you got the platform to play as a number 9. If I think you have the ability to get 20 goals, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't think you're interested in being in the box. Sometimes I think Jesus, unpopular opinion, was one of our better players, but like, you're putting in great crosses, but you gotta be on the end of them, bro. Like, if you want to be a winger, let Arteta know, because the way I'm feeling, like, you might have to suffer the same fate you suffered at City, in that we take you're a great player. You can play up front sometimes, but you're not the 9. You're not denying that. You don't want to die to score goal. I think strikers are born. I don't know if Jesus is wavy, Brazilian, samba skills. I rate what he's brought to the system. You know, he's been a great player. I'm happy to have him. But I don't know if he was born to score goals. I know he was born to do the Brazilians flirting, but I don't know if he was born to score goals. You get into the right areas, you look like you need to pattern up on your finishing. Look at Eddie. Eddie come on for 2 minutes, and the hold-up play was a lot better, because Eddie's not interested in all that crap. Rightly or wrongly, obviously he does it, but he's just stand up front. And at a time, I'm no tactician. I don't know football how Arteta knows, but it looked for a while, we might as well go 2 up front. I don't know how you're going to get it done, but 2 up front. Jesus do that, Jesus support striker stuff. Eddie just stand up there. So Arteta hasn't shown his bottle with the system, because it's bewildering. If it worked, would have said great. In the same way I praised you for the team against Chelsea and Newcastle and other periods this season, you have to face the music, because we've all bottled this. So it's a madness, people. He said on key moments, the momentum shift. It started with what happened at Anfield in the 90th minute, and we gave it away. Then you go to West Ham and you make it 3-1. That's going to change. We have conceded a lot of goals. We have given 16 goals away in those matches. People say I'm negative and I'm just trying to find stuff. It's a lot. You know, a lot. You cannot sustain that. To win in this league, you have to be exceptional at everything, because there are no margins. That team doesn't give you any margins, and we extended those margins too much. That's how we lost the league. And it's true, but I think that's a cop-out. Obviously, it is where we've bottled it against West Ham, Liverpool and stuff. But it's the games we've actually been one-way traffic and we've conceded. We need to chase that illusion of perfection. And I think some people at this club are too happy with being good or very good. I want you to be great and be exceptional. That doesn't mean everyone's going to be Lionel Messi, but maximize everything you lot can do. I think some people indirectly, based on the comments I've seen, over leveraging the fact of we've passed the top 4 tests with flying colours. And I like Ramsdale. I really rate the way Ramsdale faces up to the music, good or bad. But if I look at the cynical cap and away from my love for Arsenal and things and the dark Sunday League DG, sound like a pussy, if I'm honest. Sound like you're overcompensating. Sound like someone that's been fighting relegation. Ramsdale's my guy. Big up you for your new deal. But it seems like we're too happy with just being here. You know, it seems like, again, I'm only 28. So I've kind of seen a lot. Like, I've seen the internet era, and I've seen more so in, you know, if you're in school now, obviously, the way I come up, You need to win. Like if you're racing on sports day, man don't care about bronze and silver. If you're second and third, that don't mean nothing. Like you're the first and second losers, and everyone else is even collapse for you lot. Now, if you look, and some of you are teachers, everyone gets a participation trophy. Everyone wants praise for just the fact that they're running in the race, let alone winning it. No, in life, there's winners and losers. You're winning in everything. If you even down to getting a house, if you get approved a mortgage for a house, someone got turned that down. Winning and losing are everything and the only things, but at the same time, they're not. There's more. There's sometimes times to be positive when you've lost and concerned when you've won. You can't win all the time. You need to learn. But it seems like we're managers happy to be here. Maybe I'm being a bit onto them, but still, on the main reasons for us conceding in big games, everything, Cartel. I don't want to hear nothing. It's everything. You, the players, everything. It's our whole outlook on defending. And for years, this club hasn't respected defending, regardless of what else that happens. Even down to our academy. How many defenders come through our academy? Big up Waters. He was on the bench, and you've got Sosa and that. How many players, even the ones that have been sold, how many players have cut a career at Arsenal as a defender? And half the time when defenders come through, it's an accidental thing. Man will say Tony Adams. You can name all the young strikers about right now and the young centre mids at this club. You can't bring up a centre defensive mid right now. Big up Mauro Bandeiras on the bench yesterday. You can't rise up a centre back. And I'm not criticising the academy. I'm just saying our whole outlook needs to improve. You know, it needs to improve, really and truly. But I don't really like Arteta's doing the Wenger thing where he takes all the responsibility. It's my responsibility at the end. I'm responsible for the team to score many more goals than the opponents. We haven't done that in the last few weeks. You are. And I rate the fact that you don't just tear into your players, but I know you're saying something privately, then you're saying publicly we got myth. He was then asked on Saliba missing being a factor. We can look at that, but there are other things we should have done. But let's be real. With Saliba's injury, there's games we should have won. There's performances we should have put in. There's goals that could have been avoided. Like two truths can be true in the same realm. We've missed Saliba, but we're doing too much with that. Let's be real. You know, unlacking a killer instinct, bro. They didn't even have killer instinct. Bro, I don't know what team was there at Nottingham Forest, and it pains me to say this. What I don't know what you lot were on. Everything was wrong. Everything, timing wise, quality wise, the last pass, the last decision wasn't accurate enough. You have to congratulate Forest for what they've done, which is true. The way they have defended, they got the game where they wanted. When we gave them a goal as well, and we struggled in different ways, we tried many different ways. By the end, we didn't find that quality to break them down. Eddie was at the game. You take your phone, take your blower, and start talking to agents because it can't be done with certain players. Which is true. Congratulations to them. On if there were too many changes in the back line today. Yeah, on top of everything, we had a lot of issues during the week with players that haven't been able to train, that only trained half an hour yesterday. We couldn't have done it. I think Partey played a really good game in that position. Again, when you lose, I should have done something different, that's for sure. I love you, you know. You take responsibility, you face up to the music. Mad thing. I can't lie. I don't even care what Ramsdale has had to say. Pick up Aaron Ramsdale, man. You know, I love you, Gaff. I love you, keeper, but I don't really care. What else could you say? Anyways, let's hear. Today is disappointing afternoon for us, but Champions League football was originally the goal at the start of the season. We managed that for the first time in 6 or 7 years, which is true. We pushed this City team all the way. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you did not. No, you did not. No, you did not. No, you did not. What City team did you push? City sat there and said, yeah, let me bill it. Let Arsenal do their thing. They're going to crumble. You didn't push it to the last day. You didn't push it. What did you push? It's a byproduct of every other team being crap, which I don't agree with this notion that Arsenal only performing because every team's crap. That happens. That's the season. If my team stays in the division, am I going to sit here and say, oh, because the only stay because the other team's crap? That's their business. This is the Premier League. Ultimately, it's a performance-based sport. Naturally, it's correlated, whether you finish first or 20th, it's correlated to how you perform across the season. So I think for generally, that's a dumb narrative. Top four was the aim. Champions League was the aim. But what did you push them to? City are a super team. 3P, about to do a treble, potentially. Pep Guardiola, bad boy manager, wavy team. Can't praise them enough. But you didn't push them. You didn't make them break a sweat. You didn't make them break a sweat. Yeah, Arsenal was a breath of fresh air. But when it comes to crunch time, what would it? You didn't push City all the way. Pep should be stressed right now. Pep's got no hair in his head and he should be losing hair. He should be thinking, raw, we're fighting for a treble. Arsenal are onto us. They beat Nottingham Forest. They beat Brighton. They did this. They did that. We've got, we've just had a high demand in Champions League game. We need to do. Bro, you didn't run it to the last game of the season. What City team did you push all the way? It's a lie. You didn't push City all the way. The disappointment is not going to come from not winning the league. It's going to come from how it's ended playing out. Now, this is why Ramsdale's my guy. Facts. How it's played out. We will be really proud of ourselves, but we have to look in the mirror and we have to be the first ones to own up to our mistakes where we went wrong, because that's how we learn and get better. That's great, but we've been saying this too frequently. He then spoke about, all we can do is just get 3 points against Wolves, hopefully, and just end the season in a decent manner. In it would mean everything to see the place bouncing, which I know it will be, and that will be tough for the supporters after what happened today. But we know we have the backing of the whole stadium. We want to give them a smile for the rest of the summer and leave on a positive note, because they will be the first ones to recap on the season. They'll remember the last game we played, not the third or fourth last. The last game. Speak for yourself. I remember everything. If we put on a performance, score some goals, and keep a clean sheet, too much to ask, then it will end the season on a positive, and we'll go again in a few weeks. We got no choice to go again. The season is not done yet. We need to regroup. We've got one game left, which we put on a performance, a smile on our supporters' faces, which they deserve. They can go to the summer proud of us. If I'm honest, it looked like you lot were on the beach against Nottingham Forest. I don't believe that, because I know you lot care, but it looked like you was on the beach. Mentally, felt sorry for yourselves against Southampton. Looked like you all wanted a hug from your mums against City. Mentally, above everything, you lot have crumbled. So use this, because next season it's only going to get worse. You're in the Champions League. There's expectation. The Liverpools, the Chelseas, us as well, but the Liverpools, the Chelsea, United, City, everyone's going to attempt to get better. So let's see in it. But yeah, where that's concerned, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, people. That was my therapy session. I feel a lot better from getting my thoughts out. Let me know what you lot feel. It's a pleasure to be here with you lot. And throughout the course of the season, Arsenal fan or not, it's been a pleasure to hear you lot's thoughts and offer my own opinions on the season and many different talking points. You lot stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll link up again soon. Check out the rest of the other vids. Hope you all have a great Sunday off the back of a great week previously. Hope you and your loved ones have good health and even better week where your personal and private goals are concerned. Appreciate you, my long-term supporters, for your consistent support. And if you're new here, like, comment, subscribe anyways, but subscribe, turn on your notification bell. Stay blessed, stay safe, one love.
So you always use that active red light, defending.
I think it's like